Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
I'm here with the chairman of C40 Cities, a group that's very active here in the early days of this COP30 summit. Let me start by asking about the role of mayors in this conversation. We in the U.S. know well that the president has expressed more than skepticism about climate change.
I hadn't noticed.
There you go. What's the role of mayors here, and how do you see this conversation evolving over the next 3 weeks?
Well, there's a huge amount of energy and dynamism and hope here in Rio, because this is also a gathering of C40, the World Mayor Summit's taking place in Rio. And we've got great stories to tell about how in cities across the globe, including some states in the USA, we've been tackling the climate emergency, creating great jobs, improving air quality, and showing that we are the doers at a time when many national leaders are the delayers and the deniers.
It's always a parlor game of how big a deal a COP30 is going to be. Set the expectations for us in terms of what we'll get out of this at the end of it.
Well, I'm hoping that over the next 3 days, the energy, the dynamism, the optimism from mayors leads into from Rio to Belém. So the presidents and the prime ministers who are coming to Belém will see examples of success stories. See, by the way, we don't just deliver, we win elections again and again and again. And that'll give them a sort of encouragement to go much further this year at COP. It's really important. Why? Across the globe, you're seeing heat waves. You're seeing wildfires. You're seeing flooding. You're seeing people concerned about the consequences of this emergency, not just in the global south, like yesteryear, but in the global north, in the USA, in the UK, across mainland Europe. And I think the public is demanding now much more of our national politicians.
Your message to the British government, UK government, was this can't be the Ed Miliband show. It can't just be the energy secretary talking about climate. It has to be something that the Labour Party, the government, takes up in earnest. What is your message to them in full about how they should be looking at this event and the role of climate change in their conversation, their policy conversations more broadly?
Oh, well, I'm really pleased and proud. Unlike some countries, my national leader is here. And it's really important.
Keir Starmer will be here.
Keir Starmer will be here. The Prime Minister will be here. He does not think the climate change catastrophe is a scam. He does believe the science, really important, but also it's really important that he's here because it sends a message. We take it seriously. What I want to do is turn this crisis into an opportunity, but also it's got to be a joint endeavour. It should be everyone in government. The new homes we need to build, they should be energy efficient. They should be built in a way that they are cooler in summer, warmer in winter, but also help with people's bills by being energy efficient. I want us to think about what is the future of work with AI, with automation, with factories closing down. I think there are jobs in terms of building the wind turbines, building the solar panels, building electric buses, building electric cars, installing the charging points. And that's why I think this is an opportunity. And look, these fossil fuels we've used to our benefit individually and as societies for 200 years, but it's caused real damage to the environment. There are alternatives now, whether it's solar, whether it's nuclear, whether it's wind. We should be investing in those.
I come from New York, where we're hearing an awful lot about London. It's being caricatured and stereotyped in the context of this mayoral race by the president, by one of the candidates for mayor as well. It's being portrayed as a place that's out of control, a lot of crime. There's a heavy amount of Islamophobia in there as well. What's your response to that, the way that London is being used as sort of something being held up in the New York mayoral campaign?
Well, first, I've got lots of friends who are in New York, and I think New York is the second greatest city in the world. Look, there's a reason why there are some people hate London and hate New York. There's a reason why they demonize London and now indeed New York. Why? Because we are progressive cities, we are liberal cities, we are multicultural cities, and we're incredibly successful. We are the antithesis of nativist, populist commentators and politicians. And I think, listen, the fact that in New York you may elect somebody who's a Muslim is neither here nor there. It's what are his policies? What are his vision? What does he want to do for the people of New York? And I think, listen, it says more about the people criticizing, Zohran Mamdani's ethnicity and faith. It says more about them, what they're all about, than it says about him.
You spoke with him after the Democratic primary, and I wonder if you could kind of characterize what that conversation was like. You say it's neither here nor there that he could be the first Muslim mayor of New York, and I'll go with your hierarchy, London and New York, these two major cities. What did you tell him about what that is like? You were the first Muslim mayor of London, what that means.
Look, conversations I have with others are private conversations, but I'm quite clear when you are from a city like London or New York, I think the greatest honour and the greatest privilege is to be the leader of that city. I've had many great jobs in my life that I've thoroughly enjoyed. There is no greater job than being the mayor of your city. I've seen from afar the campaign that Zohran Mamdani has run. He appears to be having fun. He appears to be connecting. He's doing something that I know a lot about, which is reaching parts of your city that are underserved, reaching people that hitherto feel as if politics isn't for you, understanding that actually, sometimes cities aren't fair. Sometimes in a city you've got two separate tales taking place, and what's important is for you to be authentic. And whether you're in New York or London or other parts of the globe, is to be true to yourself. And I'm looking forward to seeing the results in the next couple of days, actually, see what happens.
With your mayoralty and perhaps there is an element to being the mayor of London or New York that is a global responsibility. You're here in Brazil. How much of that is a surprise to you, and how much do you think about the role of London on the global stage?
Well, the reality is when you are from a global city, when you are a leader of that global city, your audience, really importantly, are your constituents, but also it's the globe, because the world's eyes are on London, the world's eyes indeed are on New York. That is a huge privilege, but it comes with a huge responsibility. So I've never campaigned to be a Muslim mayor. I don't use those sort of words. I'm a mayor who happens to be Muslim, but I recognise, and this is just a fact of life, there are some people who may not have been a Muslim. There are some people who only see things in movies or when they hear from presidents. And I want to address some of the fears people have sometimes because I am a Muslim. I recognise sometimes people prejudge what it means to be a Muslim. So not by choice, but almost by duty, I sometimes use my role to explain we aren't the boogeyman. We are just like you. We've got the same ambitions and aspirations as you. I never asked for that responsibility, but I recognise as the leader of a great city, as a proud Brit, a proud Englishman, a proud Londoner, but also a proud Muslim, I'm more than happy to talk about my faith and what it means. And I'm sure you'll see if Zohran Mamdani does win, Mayor Mamdani doing the same. Not because he necessarily wants to, but because he recognises that our religion has been demonised. I think we both would recognise that actually a small minority of people who claim to follow our religion have done some bad stuff. That doesn't represent the more than 2 billion people on this planet who are Muslims.
Last question, kind of playing off of this. In New York, in this campaign, there's a lot of warning from a lot of wealthier New Yorkers saying that people will leave the city were he to win if the city were to get too progressive as they see it. We had Nigel Farage issuing the same warning in London today, that there's a chance that people who are of means in London might elect to lead if we go farther to the left there. Your response to that warning or that proposed trend?
Well, firstly, I've got no idea whether that is the case, whether that will happen. If that is the case, come to London. I'm going to roll out the red carpet and welcome you to London. I think the reality is, New York's a great city. I hope New York continues to flourish and thrive. Of course, like London, we have challenges, but the joy of being the mayor is you work with everyone across your city. I campaigned to be a mayor for all Londoners. Yes, I campaigned for those who live in deprived communities, those who desperately need social housing, those who are facing the consequences of cost of living crisis, but also recognising that I, as a politician, don't create the wealth. I don't create the jobs, but working with the private sector, working with all Londoners, you can do a great job.